Madre John Madden, they call me Juanito in Mexico, which is about they have to do something with their brakes over there. That's terrible. 3 blocks in that direction is the Rio Grande River and the Mexican border. And I love living this close to Mexico. Long time ago, in my 30s, which is a very long time ago, like 40 years ago, I had a good friend named Mark Briggs, who was a prosperity coach, who was renting space in my big office therapy suite. I was a psychotherapist in Syracuse, New York. And he taught me something it wasn't just him, called the vacuum principle. That if something comes your way from the universe that is kind of like what you want and need, but not really, turning it down creates a positive vacuum in the universe, which attracts towards you something that's closer to what really will fit. I just lived that out in the last 3 days. On Friday night, this guy walked into a bar for the 3rd time. 2 weeks before, I had met a girl in there that it seemed like we had clicked. I wasn't positive that I was reading the tea leaves correctly, but I thought we had clicked. Then I went back another time and she wasn't working, and they said she only works the weekends. So Friday night early, I realized it's the weekend. Let's go check. Let's go by. What the hell? Roll the dice. So I went in, and sure enough, she brightened up a lot at the sight of me. And when I said, when you said at the end of the night, I hope I get to see you again, was that just something you say to all the customers to bring them back? No, I meant it. We had fun. I thought we clicked. So that was good. And I like bartenders. One of my most fun relationships in my 30s was with a roommate who was a bartender, and she was great. And just recently in the hospital, I had a nurse who I recognized right away from her sassiness. I said, were you ever a bartender? 13 years. When I tell people that, they say, oh, that fits, but you saw it. I like that. I did. So this bartender is young and cute and sexy, and we tried to pretend we were on the same wavelength because we both like New Orleans, but actually what we like about New Orleans is pretty different. And in fact, the chances of us having much to talk about is pretty minimal. So I left her my card and said, here's the video where I talk about you. Send a comment if you want to connect with me. And she might, but I didn't have her phone number or email or anything like that. And I may go back there, but not necessarily. Not to see her. So today I went for the 2nd time to Unity Church, way on the north side of Brownsville, where I'm living. I have a lot of history with Unity. It's very high consciousness people. And I met a 60-ish woman there today who's a psychotherapist like I was, and taught psychotherapists at a local university, and extremely substantial, and we clicked in so many different regards. I'm an ecstatic dancer, and she said, come use our facility. We got a beautiful space. We move all the pews, we could have a fabulous ecstatic dancer, and we might. And she said to me, I don't really know how to dance. Could you teach me to dance? I said, yeah, it's one of my specialties. And in fact, today I made a playlist for her, which I've already prepared to send to her. Later, she said, I'm kind of a workaholic. Could you teach me to play? Because you seem like a pretty playful guy. And I said, they call me Mr. Fun back in Asheville, North Carolina, which they do. I'm not making that up. So we're off and running. We're off and running to an extent that I was dizzy afterwards. But thinking about it now as a vacuum principle, it didn't suck. No, the universe does not suck. But it does seem like just 2 days later, check it out, I'll have to contact Mark. He lives in Florida. I haven't talked to him since my 30s. But I often think about him because he influenced me a lot. So Mark, I might send this to you. I think somewhere I have your address in Florida. Okay, I hear the bells of the cathedral. Can you hear that? They stopped. Oh, there they are. You probably can't hear them. But maybe they're just in my head. Okay, bye-bye.